Would you like to start by telling us why you've run for this position?
So I've been working with Student Minds for the 3 years that I've been here at UCL, and I got more involved this year. And so I was working with Katie, the welfare officer, and I just thought it was really great what she was doing and kind of wanted to do it myself. So
why do you think that you're the best candidate in terms of experience, in terms of the kind of person you are?
Well, I've had experience with welfare through Student Minds. It's like a mental health support group, and I do psychology as well, and I just think that I really care about students' welfare and I just want to help people.
Your manifesto doesn't really touch on international students, so what would you do to improve the lot of international students?
Well, when I was writing my manifesto, I talked to people to get ideas, and I talked to international students as well, and one person said that her biggest issue as an international student was integration, and so I thought that would be a really good place to start with international students, so that's why I included that in my manifesto, kind of getting home students and international students to kind of gel a bit more.
And what would you set up in order to make sure that they gelled? Like what events, what policies would you implement?
I thought it would be really nice to have like an optional kind of friendship pairing programme, almost like pairing international and home students so they can kind of learn about each other's cultures and kind of really integrate like from an early on basis.
You want to hold regular drop-in sessions, so first of all, what would you want to talk about in these drop-in sessions? I mean, what would you want people to come to you to talk about?
Well, any issues with welfare. I know that people have been struggling with the psychological services a lot this year, so that might be something they want to come in. International students, if they're struggling with transition. If anybody has any ideas about any kind of welfare or international related campaigns or startups that they want to do, then I just kind of want to make it more, I want to improve communication between the student council people and the students. And
if you were elected, how would you communicate with the wider student population? How would you get your messages out there? How would you get what you're doing publicised?
Well, by holding events, like postering, just talking to people on the internet, just kind of really the same kind of thing that they've been doing but more, and I think just really talking to people more and getting other people to talk to other people.
And these elections are like quite notorious for the student apathy in terms of turnout and in terms of like people not really engaging with student politics. How would you seek, if elected, to get students more involved?
Well, I'm hoping that the elections themselves this year might get people more involved anyway. But I think that kind of with the drop-in sessions and with communication, I think that that's how I try and get people involved, and seeking students' ideas as well as like my own ideas, I think would be really important to that, so that students can feel like they have a chance to change things themselves.
Well, obviously due to your work with Student Minds, mental health plus psychology, that's a big part of your manifesto. You want to improve this access and push for more funding. How do you expect to go about that? How do you expect to achieve that more funding for the psychological services?
Well, I'm hoping that in the turnover thing that I will be guided as to how to do that. But I think like constantly pushing, writing reports on how the services are and getting student reports on how their experiences have been and showing those to the relevant people and being very persistent. That's how I'm planning on pushing for it.
You also mentioned in your manifesto you want more student-led support groups. How would this work?
Yeah, well, with the Student Minds thing that I do, they also do a depression group. And I think that depression is a huge issue that affects a lot of people at UCL. So I would quite like to get students to help other students suffering from depression, potentially anxiety, but I'm not as certain how the anxiety group would work, but I would look into that. Because I know that those are two key issues that really affect people who are in higher education, particularly in institutions like UCL, which are very full of people who are perfectionists and kind of susceptible to these kind of.
So you'd be looking perhaps to expand student minds, but with more union support, perhaps?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be student minds, but I'd be looking to work with charities that do help with anxiety, UK, or depression, and kind of seeing how we can bring that into UCL to get students to help each other, because obviously psychological services are oversubscribed, and once you leave I don't think there's as much support after you've left your 6 sessions of CBT. So something that students know that they can go to whenever they want, I think would be really good.
And you also want relaxation and stress resilience workshop sessions. How would you organise these? What would you go through?
Well, again, I think I would be contacting experts in the area and kind of finding out what they think would work best and then implementing them.
In high pressure environments like UCL and exam period, for example, that we kind of are sort of inundated with resources that tell us how to avoid stress and how to cope with exams. Why do you think that people will pay more attention to you? As in, how would you spread it out there so that it was more easily accessible, or perhaps something that people would want to pay more attention to?
Well, I'd probably go through the departments and make the people that are in charge of welfare within the departments aware of it, so that if they see that any of their students are struggling or coming to them, then they'll be aware of that. I kind of want to make the whole system within UCL more clear as well. Like I say, with a go-to guide, I think that it can sometimes be a struggle trying to work out where to go first when you want help for different things. So I think just making it really clear, maybe infographic, of the different levels of support that are out there would be really good.